right, we have city council reports. Councilmember Buckland.
All right, it's going to be lengthy, so get out your slippers and it's only 2 pages. Don't worry about it. I attended the Sutter Butte Flood Control meeting here a couple weeks ago, just prior to leaving on the cap to cap. Y'all don't want to listen to this? Oh, okay.
I'm hungry.
So am I, but we've got to go through this. You can watch this later, Pat, because you want to know what we're doing in Washington, D.C. So the Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency are in our general meeting looking at moving forward with some of the ongoing maintenance issues and making recommendations going forward to the different districts, being able to handle their own maintenance and letting them make decisions regarding how that was going to happen, that it wouldn't fall under the umbrella of Sutter Butte Flood Control, but also that there's additional work that needs to be done in the south reaches of Sutter County to get to 100-year flood protection, and that is one of the goals still of the Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency. Shortly after that, I took off for Washington, D.C. On the first leg of the trip, I went with our city manager, and we attended the SACOG tour, to put it in light words, of the Highway 1 corridor north out of Washington, D.C. into Maryland, looking at revitalization, some of the multi-modal transportation facilities that are adjacent to their systems there in the metro area, but also talking, as Councilmember Cleveland was talking about earlier, with an apartment complex. It's very much like that discussion that he was having, is being able to put these around centers where people have access to them and cut down on vehicle trips necessarily, being able to walk to, bike to, and use other modes of transportation to get around. A lot of this also looked at the revitalization, an old, worn down highway that used to have a lot of automobile dealerships. Those have gone by the wayside. Those have been consolidated in different areas, but also converting those into usable boutique type shops, trip generators into these communities, a place, a meeting place. We went into a number of different facilities, and it really helped bring and is helping bring these communities back. Many of the communities are no larger than the size of Marysville, but they're just interconnected as they go up the highway. But the Arts District was one of the more vital pieces that we saw that really brought interest back into the community and brought new life into a community. Also, looking at community cooperative nonprofits, we met with a group that is providing and helping in job growth around the University of Maryland. That was our furthest outreach that we made on an all-day tour up through there. It was very interesting to see and hear from those that are providing some of the structure, hotel projects, a lot larger than what we're looking at in Yuba City, but the same basic concepts of being able to bring more folks into the area, keep them in a closer core, not for any other purpose than convenience. The convenience factor is very, very high, and again, around the University of Maryland, that area has grown significantly with the help of these nonprofits. Saturday and Sunday, some meetings in planning for the upcoming meetings on Capitol Hill. I'll go briefly just through some of the meetings that I had on Monday. I met with the Federal Highway Administration Deputy Administrator, Ms. Hendrickson. She and I discussed some of the grant grant opportunities, some of the grants that we currently have made application to, and future grant applications to possibly be used directly towards Bridge Street, and the criteria that they're looking for to specifically be able to fund that. Also had a staff meeting over at the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, gaining some support for a higher level of police grants. Also had a meeting with Senator Harris's district staff in her office. The meeting was rather short, but yet we have met with her field representative here, and so they just wanted an interlinkage talking about the issues of rural Northern California. Also met with the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee on the majority side, looking at how some of the grants, the funding will be going forward. The Tiger grant has been increased almost by 3 times the amount over last year. So we're looking at some of the programs that we can tap into, and then also met with the House minority side of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Had the very same conversations. The nice thing is both sides are talking the same language. I think it's been a few years back in Washington, D.C., where we didn't have that. There seems to be a little bit more of a cooperative discussion between both of the different committees. So I believe that that's going to be of benefit, though they're looking at the administration and pushing back against the administration's funding related to rural communities in the Midwest and those type of states. So looking more at the administration's looking more at the middle of the country, where the committees are looking more at just simply the definition of rural communities, which can also include California. And just separate light meetings, had a direct meeting with Congressman Barra, who doesn't represent our area, but is a representative where I serve down on the SACOG board, and also with Congressman McClintock, talking about the San Joaquin joint rail connector into the capital. This is utilizing heavy rail. This isn't anything about high speed. It's just a commuter rail coming out of the San Joaquin system up into the capital, and pushing for them to recognize that we need to extend that onto the Marysville line and having access from there up to Chico and Reading via bus. So those were some of the discussions that we had regarding that. So it was busy back in Washington, D.C. with all the different meetings and everything else. Coming home, I was home only a couple hours and assisted over in Chico with the Highway Patrol on an every 15 minutes program at Colusa High School. Also attended the Beale Air Show, which was a great turnout for Beale Air Force Base to see the final. I just talked to a major out there today, and they don't even have the final numbers tallied up, but they were saying that it more than likely has exceeded 80,000 people at the air show. So I didn't hear the final numbers. He doesn't know, but he's going to call me back tomorrow. They were excited about what happened out there. It's amazing. The F-22. Hey, that is a dominant aircraft. That was amazing. And to watch Commander Loco fly that thing, at the ability he flew that was amazing. Yesterday, all-day event down in Sacramento, down in Citrus Heights, in a revitalized strip mall that looked like 5 years ago could have been any of the buildings along Highway 20, where some of the old strip locations that we have could have looked anything like that. Turned into a destination point in that city in Rancho. It was amazing, but we attended the SACOG Regional Futures Forum, and it was well represented by a lot of members. And of this council, and also our city manager and Darren Gale. So appreciate all of that. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Next, we have Councilmember Cordoza.
I guess we'll start off with meetings also. Attended the Sutter Buttes Flood Control Agency with Councilman Cleveland and Councilman Buckland. The Bi-County Homeless Services Program, JPA. Sutter Animal Services Authority. The Yuba Sutter Transit Authority meeting. The Regional Housing Authority. Also the Sutter Affordable Housing Authority Committee. SACOG with Council. Attended the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools Office of Strategic Plan Forum with Vice Mayor Harris. For chamber events, we had the monthly ambassadors meeting. We had a couple ribbon cuttings this month. One is for mechanical and irrigation solutions. Brand new. It's for agriculture and also the homeowner. They're on the East Onslaught Frontage Road, just north of Pease. And then we have a brand new farmers insurance agent company in our community, Keith Anthony's. I attended the E-Center Child Care Center dedication for Deedar Baines. They dedicated building for him as the Peach King, and also attended the Chamber's Candidates Forum last week. For city and community events, I attended the Children's Fair at the Town Fountain, sponsored by Yuba College and the Child Care Planning Council of Yuba Sutter. Attended the 50th Annual Elegant Soiree by the United Way Friday night. That was a wonderful time at Caloose Casino. The Beal Air Show with Council. I did the Yuba City Business Walk, and that's sponsored by the Yuba Sutter Economic Development Corporation and District. Attended the Bike Around the Buttes. I attended the Youth Commission's Art Show at the Senior Center. They had 70 paintings and drawings. It was wonderful, and the students of the high schools and grade schools, that was a great time there. Our city had a demo of our brand new street sweeper. Got to see a brand new sweeper that the city purchased for the citizens of the community. Little small compact thing that does a lot of work that the big one used to. Attended the Yuba Sutter Fire Department's first annual awards picnic. And then last but not least, as you can all see, I attended the St. Baldrick's Foundation Shaving of the Head. This is a battle to help conquer childhood cancers. And I also like to special thanks for the folks that donated. Vice Mayor Harris, Darren Gale, the Yuba City Fire Department staff, and all the folks that were at the Happy Viking that threw in to see that I got this done. And then also a special thanks, I got me a new little buddy, Jazz Hernandez. He got his hair shaved in a stool just below me the same time I had mine done. So we had fun, got me a new little friend, and had a great turnout. And thanks for all you for contributing to a great cause. And that's it for me.
That's fantastic, Manny, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland.
Thank you very much. Well, I did have a little bit of a busy time also. Let's see, I have this a little mixed up. On Wednesday, the 11th of April, was Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency. Councilman Buckland did a fantastic synopsis of it. I won't add anything to that. Then on the Monday the 23rd, sweeper demonstration. That is compact, but I also saw it at another location on the Saturday before I'll tell you about in a minute. Thursday, I did attend the Bi-County Homeless Services Program meeting, getting caught up firsthand of what the plan that they're doing, and it's really coming together, I think, quite well. Toured the wastewater plant in preparation for the agenda item tonight. I usually haven't gone and done it before, mainly because I used to work at a smaller sized one, but I already knew pretty much what I was going to encounter. It was mostly the smell. But I finally did officially go look at our plant and look at the specific needs that our community will need for the future. Last night, I actually attended the Yuba Sutter Farm Bureau meeting, since many of our own members in the community work on farms and live in Yuba City. I've been an integral part of their process for the past now almost 12 years when I was a supervisor. And there's a lot of businesses in Yuba City that service the farmers. And we want to make sure that we're hearing their concerns and needs within the city and the county to make sure we keep up with what they're wanting also. I did attend the first annual fire department awards at Gautier Aquatic Park. That was quite emotional for the ones that won the award because they serve the community. They just do it because they love helping people and being there when there's needed. Also, they had I guess it was a Touch a Truck at the Playseum, and that's where I first saw the sweeper out there, and the kids just went nuts over the trucks and the cars and the big monster trucks, the fire trucks. Loved hooting the horns and honking on them and climbing in them, and they were the place was overwhelmed with the response. It was much larger than they had expected, and I could see why. It was very good. They even had a helicopter, a rescue helicopter there. Let's see here, Beale Air Force Base Air Show. What a phenomenal thing! They were looking for hoping for 60,000. They definitely are looking at 80,000, perhaps even more. Very close to that. My grandson was actually the XO of Civil Air Patrol groups. I think there were eight or nine squadrons there, and he was the executive officer, keeping them doing their stuff. So yes, I'm very proud grandfather of a grandson that's knows where he wants to go and is focused in his life. And it's good to see not just him but other youth. And there was about 70 of them there at the time, and so seeing that many that are focusing and have a focus in their life. Let's see here. The other one last item is while some of the members here were off and council members were in D.C., I was in Southern California in Pomona attending my duties as a League of California Cities policy member, dealing with state laws, and they're trying to pass bills, and some of them are just absolutely insane, and it just, you're like, what? And sometimes they even have a title that doesn't even address the thing that is on the title. It's not even in there. It's not even addressed in it. And sometimes we look at them and go, how can they even, why aren't they embarrassed about even presenting them? I brought back some information for staff. One of them is the Homeless Task Force report. It's a very, very strong report of California on the efforts throughout California on different types of services and successes and approaches, fact sheets of many different things, disaster readiness, and then homeless veterans. And I also brought back my actual agendas for the housing and economic development and environmental quality, which that's the one I serve on. And I also brought specifically for each one of the members some of the highlights of what were discussed throughout the whole time, so they can at least read if they want on some of the items we discussed, because many of the committees cross over and discuss some of the same bills because they have effect on so many facets of a city's operation. There were like 250 bills that they were saying had impact, but we only discussed about 8 or 10 of them that had the most severe impact or help for the community. So I spent 2 days down there in a lot of discussions on support or oppose or recommend amendments to different legislation. And so that was quite an involved process. After a couple of years of this already, it just never amazes me how in depth we have to, go into some of these things and the effect that some of these legislative bills will have on our lives. So anyway, that's it with me.
Thank you. Next, we have Vice Mayor Harris.
Busy few weeks since our last meeting as well in my world. Primarily it was Washington, D.C. trip, which I'll get to here in a second. But here locally, did also attend the Sutter County School Strategic Planning meeting. It was good to be a part of that. It was some good information, some good people contributing to the future of our school system here in the county anyway. Gil Sizer was canceled. Went to the Dunkin' Donut ribbon cutting. That was great. I was happy to see them join the ranks, as our city manager already pointed out. Also attended the fire department first annual awards ceremony at the Gaucher Aquatic Park, which is quite nice. It was a very family event. Everybody loves firemen, I tell you. But and they should. They're good people. But it was very, very good, very positive experience. Yes. I won't say the next line. I won't say that. The SACOG Regional Futures Forum, first time I went down to that, it was also quite interesting. They had a lot of discussions about a lot of different things, moving everything forward. If I could take away one buzzword, it'd be regionalization. I think pooling resources is going to be the way of the future. They're just necessary to get communication together so we can kind of, you don't rob Peter to pay Paul and then consider that progress. You want to help each other out and move forward together. Washington, D.C., I was on the subcommittee for public safety. I attended several meetings. I believe it was 4 total formal meetings, and then many more than that, informal meetings, including some one-on-one time with Congressman Barra and Congressman Garamendi, primarily dealing with Beale Air Force Base and how he would like to see us enhance our relationship with Beale and their involvement in our community. I couldn't agree more. If we can find, I'm on the committee, but if we can find any more way to integrate them in that air show with 80,000 people is definitely a really positive way to start that out. Three of the main priorities, there were several, but it affected us locally, or we had some role in, was in the public safety subcommittee, was local government response to emergency incidents, which would be involving mutual aid, enhancing our mutual aid system. I immediately thought of our potential flood scare at the Oroville Dam and getting communications out there, and not just necessarily with the public, but for the emergency response folks to enhance their radio communications, which I believe we just did for our fire department recently as this council here. Mutual aid, there's always training, bringing up people into that system, and it all takes money. The number 2 is the wireless early warning opt-in, opt-out system. Only 1/3, which what that is the alert system of the cell phone. So what we learned was nationally, only 1/3 of people are connected up to that. And we definitely lobbied heavy to see about getting some legislation or some money to require folks, or at least give them the informed option to opt out if they choose to. Some folks would like to be in, but it's simply not available to them. The mobile crisis response team is number 3, which basically, and mental health, I tell you, is the way we really need to get serious. Homelessness is one thing. Very overrepresented mental health problems in that community, but just in general. So when folks have problems, a mental health crisis, they might not even know it themselves because they might have other things working also. And we need to focus on these teams. Sacramento PD, also Sacramento City Fire Department, they have teams that go out and they're all working right now. They're still in the embryonic stages of their programs, but they've seen tremendous success in being able to keep people safe who otherwise may be laying on a gurney in the back room of the ER or sitting in a jail cell. So they have people that are trained, they go in as a team, respond to these things, and the bottom line is to keep people safe and better serve our folks more efficiently. So we're back there face-to-face with the congressman's staff, face-to-face with the congressman, things we would not have otherwise been able to do. Here we are representing our town, Yuba City, and the Sacramento region. And it really is, it's nice to see them light up and develop those relationships with those folks, get their business cards. I've called a couple of them already since we've been back. And I really think it helps leverage our name and our brand when it comes time to sign on the dotted line and give us some resources. When you have a congressman looking you in the eye across the table and giving you ideas and tips and pointers on your grant application progress and how to do that, what to do, what not to do, and the timing involved, anybody could do that, but we took the time to go back there. And the investment we put on the front end could definitely be realized 10 times fold, or it depends on what kind of money you get, but more than pay for itself, that we would not have otherwise had an opportunity to receive because of that. So I tell you, and to see their enthusiasm, I believe it was genuine on some of these topics, and I'm looking forward to some good things coming out of that response-wise and the relationships you build moving forward. So it was a very informative, I think very helpful. I'm looking forward to seeing some positive changes.
Okay, thank you. And so as far as my reports, we put out the applications for the Summer at City Hall program. So we did receive 56 applications from the students, conducted interviews over a 2-day period. We only have seats for 30, so we have selected 30 students, and also a couple of alternates just in case some of the students end up in a summer class or get a job or something and are unable to make the Summer at City Hall program for the 3 weeks. It's mandatory that they attend the entire 3 weeks, so we would just want to make sure. So we're very excited. We're going to have a full class this summer. I also went to DC and actually was able to talk about the Summer at City Hall program as I did last year. I was able to go ahead and use that program for the workforce and committee and the education committee. And basically the discussions are about the higher education, training, certificate programs, and getting our folks ready, career readiness. So that was the primary focus there. We were able to talk with the Department of Labor as well, which we got some great news as far as partnering with them and being able to produce better programs for our students. Congressman Garamendi as well as Matsui met with both of them, introduced the Summer at City Hall program at both of those, and they were very excited and wanted more details of how we produce that program. So excited how to spread the word on that one. I also was a part of the Brookings Institute panel on the last day before we left, and that again, my area was again the workforce area, and how can we better use our resources? And here we have a huge food and ag area, and how can we use those resources and have a joint companionship with the universities and be able to look at higher paying jobs, the potentials of laboratories and things like that, because our ag is quite different than when we used to work out in the field. So how do we use the new age, the new technology to have that be a part of our ag as well? I will also be taking these programs that we're talking about at the Mayor's Conference in June. I will be on that panel to talk about the Summer at City Hall program again. Attended the Beale Air and Space Expo, which was fantastic. Great turnout, like we said, I think more than expected. Aside from that, I think that covers it. And just heads up, May 6th at 7 o'clock, CNN will be covering Yuba City as well. So chime into that and see what they have to say. It's about the Sikh culture that exists here in our area. So, okay. Aside from that, that's it. Meeting adjourned.